Welcome back. Today we're going to be continuing Unit 4 by talking about combining like terms. Let's go ahead and get started right now. So here we are with a key idea. We've got 3 steps when it comes to combining like terms. Our first step is to separate the terms. Then we're going to identify the like terms. And then we're going to combine the like terms. So let's see how that works in action right now. So here we have example A, and it says simplify the expression. So our expression is 2x minus 3 minus 10x plus 1. So I'm going to apply our 3 steps. First, we're going to separate the terms. So anytime that I see a plus or minus symbol, that's going to be a one term. I know that's where there's a break. So I'm going to draw a line down in order to separate the terms. So I see a subtraction symbol, I'll draw a line. I see another subtraction symbol, I draw a line. I see an addition symbol, I draw a line. So now I've broken my problem into 4 different terms. 2x is one term, minus 3 is its own term, minus 10x is its own term, and plus 1 is its own term. So now we're going to have to combine them. Now it says a chart is a useful way to organize the like terms. And that's true. I've got 2 different kinds of terms here. I've got things with x's and things with not so much x's. So I'm going to call one side of my chart x's and the other side of my chart constants. Constants are numbers that are just constant. They don't have any variables to change their outcome. 1 is always going to be 1. That's a constant. So we call them constants. So now let's separate our x's into our x column and our constants into our constants column. So 2x, that's going to be an x, so I'm going to put that in the x's column. Negative 3, that's a constant. I don't see any variable, so I'm going to put my negative 3 in my constants. Negative 10x, that's an x, so I'm going to put that in the x's column. Positive 1, that's a constant, so I'm going to put that in the constants column. Now that I've separated them, I'm going to combine them. So combine is just a fancy word for add. Now luckily we've got our calculator, so if we don't know our integer rules, we can use our calculator. We can add 2 plus negative 10 in our calculator. So 2 plus negative 10 is going to give me negative 8x. Remember, bring down that x. Now I've got negative 3 plus 1. Again, I can use my calculator if I don't know my integer rules. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. So now I've combined my like terms, negative 8x and negative 2. So what's my final answer? Negative 8x minus 2. That's it. I cannot go any further. That is my final answer. I can't combine the negative 8x and the negative 2. Negative 8x is completely different than 2. It's got an x, so I cannot combine these terms. Don't add them together and tell me it's negative 10x. Don't multiply them together and tell me it's 16x. This is the end. Negative 8x minus 2. That's the final answer. I can go no further. Let's take a look at the next practice problem. Here we are at practice number 1. Now, based on what I just did on the last problem, I want you to try it on this problem. Now, granted, you've got y's instead of x's, but the concept is the same. So try this one on your own. Pause the video now, and then press play again to see if you are right. How did you do? Were you able to get the same answer that I got? Notice I put the y's in one column and the constants in the other, and then I added them up. And notice that 3y plus 4 is my final answer. I can't add those together and get 7y. I can't multiply them together and get 12y. That is my final answer. Let's go ahead and take a look at example B. Here we are at example B. And again, I'm going to start by separating my terms. So I'm going to draw a line down anytime I see a plus or a minus sign. So I see a subtraction sign, that's a line, a plus sign, that's a line, and another plus sign, that's a line. So again, I've broken it into 4 terms. So now I need my chart, and it looks like I've got y's and constants. So I'm going to have y's on one side of my chart, constants on the other. 9y is a y. Negative 3. That's going to be a constant. Now notice I drag that sign. I just don't bring down the 3. I make sure to bring down that negative sign too. Plus 8, again, make sure that I bring down my sign because when I go to add them, I need to know whether they were negative or positive. Positive 6y. So again, I'm going to bring down my 6y and notice to keep my plus sign there. I could put a plus in front of the 9y just to be sure. Although it was the first one, I know that there's no negative sign there. I know it's positive. But if it helps you, make sure that you write that sign in front. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. 9 plus 6 is going to give me 15 or 15y. Make sure that I carry my variable. Negative 3 plus 8 is going to give me positive 5. Now it's important to carry my sign because otherwise I would just write it as 15y5 and that makes no sense at all. So 15y plus 5 is my final answer. Again, I can't go any further. I can't combine my y's with my 5's. That brings me to the end of this one. Let's go ahead and try the next practice problem. Here we are at practice problem number 2. I want you to try this one on your own, do the best that you can, pause the video now, and then press play again to see if you are right. How did you do? Were you able to get the same answer that I got? Hopefully you did. If not, go ahead and look through my work to find where your mistake might be, and let's go on to the next one. So here we are at example C, and it says simplify the expression. Oh boy, looks like we've got a whole lot of terms there. Well, let's not panic. Let's start doing the same thing that we always do. Let's draw our lines down anytime we see a plus or a minus sign. So I've got a plus sign here, a minus sign here, a plus sign here, and a plus sign here. So now I've separated it into 5 terms. So let's talk about what kind of terms we have. So it looks like I've got x squareds, I've got x's, and I've got constants. Now those x squareds are different than those x's. You can just tell. One's got a squared, the other doesn't. I know they're both x's, but that doesn't make them the same thing. One is x squared, and one is regular x. So we're going to break this into 3 different things. X squared is going to be a thing, or one of our groups of like terms. X's are going to be different than that, and constants are going to be our third group. So notice I've broken into 3 groups, x squared, x's, and constants. Again, x squared and x's are not the same thing. So now let's go through and place them in the different categories. 3x squared, that's going to be an x squared. 6x, that'll be under x's. -7, that's going to be a constant. Plus 4x squared, that's going to be in the x squared. Plus 5x, that's going to be in the x's. So now I've gone through all 5 terms, so now it's time to combine. 3 plus 4 is 7, or 7x squared. Don't forget the variable. 6 plus 5 is 11x, and that -7 has nothing to combine with, so it's just going to be -7. So now our final answer is 7x squared plus 11x minus 7. Notice I still did not combine my x squareds with my x's. They are different things. This is my final answer. Even though it's 3 terms long, it is my final answer. I cannot combine the x squared with the x's. Let's go on to the next practice problem. Here we are at practice problem number 3. 2x squared plus 5x minus 12 plus 9 minus 11x squared. I want you to try this one on your own, remembering the example that we just did. So go ahead and pause the video now, do the best that you can, and then press play again to see if you are right. How did you do? Did you get the same answer that I got? Hopefully you did. If not, go back through your work and check where you may have made your mistake. And if not, let's go on to the next one. So here we are at example D, and again, we're going to be simplifying this expression. Let's start by drawing our lines down to separate our terms. So I'm going to see a minus sign, a plus sign, a minus sign, a minus sign, and a plus sign. So now I've separated my terms. Let's see what kind of categories I need. So it looks like I have the constants, I have an x, and I have a y. Again, I can't combine x's and y's. Those are 2 different letters, so I know they're not like terms. So I know I'm going to have 1 category for x, 1 category for y, and 1 category for constants. Now, why would I put the x first? Why does it not matter? Why do I not put the y first? Well, anytime that I have multiple letters or letters that are different, I'm going to be putting them in alphabetical order. When I do this, it's called standard form. So it's very important that anytime that I'm doing this, that I make sure that they're in alphabetical order. So let's start with the x's. So let's see, -1, I know that's going to be a constant, so I'm going to put that in the constants category. -x, I know that's going to fall under x's, so -x. Plus 5y, that's going to be in the y's. -3y, that'll be a y. -6x, that's going to be an x. And +5 is going to be a constant. So now let's combine our like terms. So the first thing I see is I've got -x, but -x doesn't have any coefficient in front of it. So if I just see a -x with no other coefficient, I know it's just 1. It's just -1x. I don't have to write that 1 to know that it is 1. I just see the 1x there, and I know it's -1x. So -6 plus -1 is -7x. +5 plus -3 is going to be 2y. Again, if I don't know my integer rules, feel free to use your calculator. -1 plus 5 is going to be, again, if I don't know my integer rules, I'll use my calculator to get +4. So I've got -7x plus 2y plus 4. And that's as far as I can go. I can't combine my x's, I can't combine my y's. This is my final answer. Negative 7x plus 2y plus 4. Let's go on to the last practice problem. Here we are at practice problem number 4. Y minus 4x plus 9x minus 6 minus 2y. I want you to try this one on your own. Do the best that you can. Remember the example that we just went over, and then press play again to see if you are right. How did you do? Were you able to get the same answer that I got? If not, go back through the problem and see where my work doesn't match yours and correct it. If so, that brings us to the end of this video. So if you like this video, go ahead and smack that like button. If you love this video, go ahead and throw us a thumbs up, and we will catch you in the next one.